In today's video, I'm going to break down exactly the creative strategy, the landing page strategy, the overall framework that we use to scale a client to over $1 million per month. As you can see over here, let me refresh so you know this is real. And if you are a new viewer, just for your own context, we typically work with 7 and 8 figure clients. This is just one of our clients. And in today's video, as I said before, I'm going to bring you through the exact same process and strategies that we use to get to $1 million a month. And in case you didn't know, getting to $1 million a month or more is a whole different process compared to scaling to 100K a month. The reality is that other levers need to be pulled in order to get to that next level. And today, once again, we will discuss exactly that. Now, let me just open up some diagrams over here. So just to get right into it, I want to talk about creative strategy first, because this is one of the main foundations that allows scale to happen. You can't just scale without creative. So strategy number one that we're using, and we're not using it just for this client, for most clients as well, is starting to leverage AI UGC avatar creators. So there's one way that we really like to create these fake avatar creators that really look realistic, is that we go over here on Symphony Creative Studio. You can actually go ahead and go into Symphony Creative Studio in the TikTok Ads Manager. And as I wait for this video to load, it takes maybe a couple minutes. I can get back to it. This is a super realistic avatar creator that looks really realistic. And so all we have to do is make sure that we provide a good script with the right pronunciation and capitalizations and punctuation so that the avatar can essentially say it in the right way. Now, before I show you, let me just move on into other things and then I'll get back to it because it takes a bit to load. We use this tool. It works super well. One other thing that we like to use is leverage B-rolls. The B-roll strategy is so cheap and so high leverage. This is literally what every 8-9 figure company is doing and leveraging. So what we want to do is we contact creators. I always talk about this in all my videos, but not to repeat myself, but it's really important. We contact UGC creators. We ask them for B-roll frames. What is a B-roll? A B-roll is a piece of footage that is typically 10 to 15 seconds long of somebody using the product, being happy with it, the transformation, unboxing videos, and stuff like that. How do these creators know what exactly they need to do? Well, first of all, we actually go over here into Altria and we try to funnel hack ads that are proven to work. If we know what is proven to work, we can tell the creators what is proven to work and they can give us what is proven to work, and we can literally copy and paste the framework. So we go ahead and here use Altria. It's an amazing tool that we can funnel hack whatever we want. This, let's just say Weston Willow is one of our direct best competitors. It has to be a direct competitor. We filter by longest running ads. We click on the ad that has been running for a long time, which means that it's profitable. Okay, and then we transcribe it. And once we transcribe it, we try to understand what are the buying triggers, why these ads work in the first place. And guess what? What you can do? You can transcribe everything. You can then go into ChatGPT. I like to use 4.0, the new version of it. You copy and paste the script over here, and then you ask ChatGPT, this is the winning script of a direct competitor. Break down why the ad works, its main triggers, angles, personas, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. Read it. And then it gives you a bunch of buying personas, scenes. You can also upload the video. You can download the video over here, download, and then upload it over here. And it gives you literally a breakdown of the entire ad. You study this, right? And then you go and create B-roll foundations. What does that mean? You create a document, right? First of all, why am I even talking about this? Because you need to understand why the ad works. Once you understand why the ad works, you can go ahead and study essentially all the types of B-rolls that this winning creative has placed, and then you can combine it with a winning script. Once you understand that, you can create a 20 to 30 page document. It doesn't have to be a 20 to 30 page document. This is what we typically do for our clients. We like to go in depth, but you essentially create all B-roll scenes. You can take screenshots of your best direct competitor, and you basically tell the creator, hey, our best direct competitor is doing B-roll 11, B-roll 12, B-roll 13, which is exactly what we need from you, Mrs. Creator, Mr. Creator. We need also B-roll 15 and B-roll 16, whatever. And so it's very easy to create, because once they know exactly what you're looking for with a small description, it's really easy. We also provide a template that looks something like this. You can stop through this video and read through it here. Basically, there's shooting specifications, content brief. You can read through it. And we also provide B-roll shots over here, or we just link them to this main B-roll document. Moving forward, strategy number 3 is that we do a lot of storyboards. We create storyboards. Once again, how do we come up with the storyboards? We don't like to reinvent the wheel. We go over here and we try to understand exactly what's working. This is, for example, the winning script. We copy it, we study it, we study the framework that ChatGPT gave us, and then we can create our own similar scripts. How do we come up with everything? What I meant to say is, how do we do these scripts? We actually use 11 Labs or another AI generated script that allows us to scale horizontally with scripts, because there's nothing better than having a winning framework, right? And then using that same winning framework along with different B-rolls that we're creating over here. What is the end result of these three approaches? Is that the end result is that you can combine B-rolls with AI scripts, and your editors will literally, you just need to give them all the B-rolls that the creators created, and then you give them a specific script that your maybe copywriter or a creative strategy created, and then they have to understand the winning video and why it works and put these pieces of the puzzle together. The most important thing, really important, is that the creative team understands why the ad works, which is why you need to create these ad breakdowns, right? Buying triggers. You need to understand the buying triggers. You need to understand the exactly the sequence of the ad, right? I know I'm scrolling fast here, but you can stop the video. Scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, 6. When is the CTA being shown in the video? Are there any bonuses shown in the videos? Why people buy it, the offer, the hook. You need to dissect everything scientifically, and I'm actually going to speak more about that later. Once you have that, it's going to be easier for the creator to put the pieces together, because if the editor needs to come up with their own strategy and framework, first of all, it's risky because they don't even know if it's going to work. Second of all, it takes them a lot more time to do this entire process. So provide it for the editor so it's easier for them. Another strategy that we use is use the AI creator and B-rolls. So we have the same script on the bottom, and then we combine B-rolls with AI avatars stacked on top onto each other. Let's see if this actually works.
This is why Gen Z is ditching foundation. After I started working from home, I stopped wearing heavy makeup every day. Is there sheer coverage and sunscreen all in one?
This is really realistic.
To every skin tone. No more wasting time searching for the perfect shade.
And by the way, I did this in like 2 seconds. Stop. I did this in like 2 seconds, and I didn't even really go over too many of the punctuations. I can iterate this and make it even better. So this is super realistic. You can typically put this person or this avatar creator on the bottom left or bottom right as like a layover, so that it can also, it's there as the B-roll goes on the back end. So these are all frameworks that really work. You can, hopefully you understand. Let me know if you have any questions about this. And then what we do to scale is that once we find what works, we scale with winning scripts and B-rolls. So the script stays the same, and we scale with different B-rolls. All of this is scientifically proven, okay? We need to understand why the video works, and then once we understand why it works, we can create our own winning variation and iterations frameworks. Same thing, you can do winning scripts plus hook variation. So the script stays the same, the body of the video stays the same, but we just scale with hooks. These are all ways and strategies that we're implementing to actually get to that 8-figure mark. Because at the end of the day, once you understand the creatives, you need to have a creative volume strategy, meaning that you can't just do a couple creatives a week. You need to be able to pump as many as you can so that you can test quite frequently. Very quick note before proceeding with this video, which I hope is of value to you. I wanted just to mention that you may or may not know that we own Brandlix Media, an e-commerce growth agency. We essentially partner with brands, and we bring them from 7 to 8 figures, or from 8 figures to multiple 8 figures, of course. And so if you are stuck and you feel like you're reaching a ceiling because of time, resources, knowledge, a creative foundation, whatever that reason is, please feel free to book a call. If you're a brand doing at least $100,000 a month, you'll qualify for the call. We can have a call. We can have just a normal conversation and understand what's actually stopping you. What are the bottlenecks? What are the walls that you're facing that is stopping you to getting to that 500K a month, million a month, 2 million a month, whatever that number is. Okay. So book a call, we'll have just a call, and then we'll explore the opportunity of potentially partnering up. But most importantly, it's going to be a valuable call because we're going to share an audit and go through a lot of different things together, specifically about your brand. Okay, I hope this is going to be valuable to you, and I'll leave you to this video and enjoy. Now, moving forward, let's talk about how we actually find these creators and what is our overall process very quickly. Super simple. We find creators. We use our own database. We actually have a pretty big database that looks something like this. Let me just show you. UGC base, right? And so we basically have like 600 plus creators, a lot of different types of creators. and they are a lot, and there's also like in Europe, UK. This is just one of the lists that we have, okay? And it's super powerful because once you have a list like this, you can leverage it. What we like to do is go on like x.com, and we like to use like filters over here and say UGC beauty, right? Sorry for going fast here, but it's really, really easy. You can go under people and you can find as many creators as you can. You see Gabby, UGC, Ellie, UGC, Jade, UGC creator. And you can also filter by blondes, Chinese, Italian, whatever you want. The most important thing over here is that you have a VA do it so that you don't have to waste your time, and you can just fill it. You delegate this and you fill this and you have a similar sheet. Onboarding creators, you provide them with a storyboard, you provide them with winning ads, and you have B-rolls. These are the foundations that you need to onboard a creator, so they know exactly what they need to do and reproduce. How do we do this? Well, it's the same thing. As I said before, we study the ads that work over here, and then we put everything, we try to understand the framework of why the ads work over here, and then we provide the different B-roll shots so they know exactly what they need to do. I know that I'm repeating myself a little bit, but this is really important in what we're doing. Next thing is that you can also just have them do a final video. So you onboard the creator, you give them the training, the rant that I just explained, you give them a specific framework, and then you just receive a final UGC video that is not just B-roll, it's just a normal UGC video. Typically, these types of videos are a lot more expensive. Post-production, very, very simple. As I explained before, we typically do two things. We collaborate with UGC creators. We ask for B-rolls. We also ask for a normal UGC video. Once again, it really depends. The pricing is the same. The only advantage of a B-roll, once again, if you have an editor and a creative strategist, is that these people can just put, you receive a bunch of raw videos, right? And then your editors can put all the pieces together and you combine scripts with B-roll variations, and you basically have unlimited pieces of content. Now, moving forward, before I talk about more creative foundations, I do want to speak about very quickly about the landing pages that we used, because it's very simple. Speaking about landing page, we used a very simple landing page that looks pretty much exactly like this one. We have a very clear title, top of the fold. Within the first couple of scrolls, people need to know exactly what the product is about and what they're getting, right? And so in this example, they're selling a portrait where they can upload a picture of their dog, and then this Weston Willow company will essentially, they have artists and they can do a canvas of the dog. So it's super emotional. It's an emotional purchase, and it works super, super well. You can choose the different types of variations, and you can also go next, right, and choose the Canva, no frame, you get the point. And so you see the top of the fold here is essentially your entire sales process. I don't even have to scroll down, and I can just purchase and know exactly what I need and want, and I can proceed without even scrolling. Boom, next. You have to upload the picture, name the pet. I'm not going to do it. And then you get the point. Then here, there's some other simple sections that we also leverage. And I'm showing you this because this is actually a brand that we took inspiration from. You need to understand that sometimes it doesn't have to be complex. It has to be well branded and very clean. All of the scaling process that allowed us to get to that next level to $1 million a month was, of course, in part this, but it was mostly also just the creative strategy that we used, essentially understanding and breaking down all the ads and all this, all the strategy breakdowns that I just explained over here. So that's about the landing page. Very simple, keep it clean. Branding is very, very important, and it's the thing that is going to allow you to have leverage over others, because branding is an identity. If you are able to differentiate yourself with colors, cool graphics, amazing images, increasing the perceived value, then that is how you're able to differentiate yourself from the competition. Okay, moving forward, let's discuss about a couple really important things. I discussed about this when I pulled up ChatGPT, but just to iterate very, very important, like a really, really important thing. If you are not able, this is really important, if you are not able to break down why winning ads are winning ads in two scenarios, within your own ad account and by studying direct competitors like Weston Willow, meaning going in the ad and dissecting exactly scientifically why this ad works, you might as well just don't do this. Because if you want to get to $1 million a month, you need to understand why, you need to understand buying triggers and why ads convert in the first place. So this is a little diagram for you just to represent that. Once we break down the ads, this is the ad, right? This entire ad. We need to break down exactly the sequence step by step. When is the hook? How long is it? What was said after or shown in the ad after the hook? In this case, it was the offer, then a product demo, features, proof, CTA. How long was the ad? Was it 30 seconds? Was it a minute? What is the creative concept of this ad? Was it a POV ad? Was it a VSL ad? We need to dissect scientifically to the T why the ads work. And guess what? You need to do it on a deeper level, because all of these segments that you see over here, they're like 10, 20 seconds long, 5, 10, 20 seconds long. We need to dissect each and every 2 to 3 second scene so that when we recreate the ad, we can create it to a T, specifically how it is. And then guess what? We can combine variations of our B-rolls and say, okay, these 2 seconds, this B-roll was shown. This other 2 to 3 seconds, this B-roll was shown. And why is this important? It's important because it wouldn't be a winning ad if people would get distracted after 5 seconds. They would leave, right? So the reason why this is a winning ad is because there's a high retention. People stick on until the end. And so it's scientifically proven to grab attention and to retain that attention for every 2 to 5 seconds. So it would be stupid for you to go ahead and replace and do whatever the heck you want, right? This is what beginners do. Advanced people break it down scientifically so that they can then recreate their own brand breakdown. And this is all information from ChatGPT. Literally what I showed you over here. It's all broken down over here. You don't have to do it manually. You don't have to be a robot. Have the robot do it for you. Upload the video over here and have it do it for you. So you go over here, you ask for ad breakdown, so you understand what the breakdown of the ad is. You ask for the ad breakdown on a deeper level with scenes, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, and then you just combine the right B-rolls. Buying triggers, if you don't understand why people buy, you might as just don't do this. You need to understand the buying motivations of the ad so that you can reproduce that, right? And then you need to understand what are the required B-rolls to make this happen, to reproduce this winning ad. This is by far one of the most important things. Step number 2 that allowed us to get to $1 million a month is creative volume. You might as well not do anything. You might as well not even start this process if you don't know how to create a scaling process with creatives, right? A lot. You need to be able to scale horizontally and do a lot. You can't do one ad a week. You need to do multiple, right? And so this is the overall foundation of how we're scaling. We are scaling with marketing angles. We are scaling with creative concepts. And let me just quickly explain this on a deeper level. So for every product that we test, we have multiple marketing angles. We have multiple creative concepts. And by the way, this is just limited to the space I have. It's dozens of these, okay? And it's dozens of these as well. It's dozens of everything, right? Because if we are able to scale horizontally, we're essentially creating buckets of cash flow. And I'm actually going to explain this on a deeper level over here. But long story short, one product, multiple angles, right? Multiple creative concepts. Examples of creative concepts is like this: POV, before and after, educational video, unboxing, reaction video, comment overload. These are all examples of creative concepts. And then we scale with scripts and we scale with hooks. All of this on a deep level, which allows us to essentially create personalized ads, a bunch of personalized ads at scale, depending on each angle and related to each product, right? These are all personalized to the angle. It's not just random, right? It's all personalized to that angle. And this allows creative scaling to happen, mass scaling, right? At the end of the day, you need mass scaling. And so this is just an example of some creative concepts that you should be doing or testing, and what it means to scale horizontally with creative concepts. You have the creative concept over here, right? These are creative concepts, and this is the angle. So if the angle is pain relief, don't just do a pain relief POV ad and that's it. Do a features and benefits image, B-roll with AI voiceover, educational type, a funny AI song, a direct offer, a pain-driven B-roll with a dramatic song in the background. You know, you have to understand that there isn't one way to find winners. You need to be able to expand your creativity to find winners yourself. How do we come up with these creative concepts? Well, first of all, 80% of our research is done with this tool. We try to understand exactly what's working. We also try to understand the ad angles that are working for them. What are the themes that are working for them? The social proof ad, features and benefits ad, unboxing, testimonial. These are all things that matter. What are the personas that they're using? or that they're targeting. Obviously, a pet lover, sentimental gift giver, a concerned pet owner, right? What are the ad copies? So we try to dissect everything as much as possible so that coming up with all of these creative concepts becomes relatively easy. Okay, what we also do is that once we do all of the research, which is required to mass produce all of these things, we put it into a sheet called Command Center or Creative Concepts over here, and we put all of the angles and the messagings that we want to test, all of the creative concepts that we want to test, and a bunch of the different hooks that we want to test. Question to you, if you have all of this foundation already laid out to you because you've done the research, do you think that coming up with all of these creative concepts, if you have a team that actually knows what they're doing, is easier or harder? It's of course easier. It's of course easier. So do the research, don't be lazy, and this is exactly how we would structure it. This is in fact one of the first things that we do whenever we onboard a client. We understand the winning angles, we put all the possible winning creative concepts over here, and we put all the winning, this is just an example. We put many more in most cases, and we get inspiration from this 600 hook resource, which we have internally, which is basically 600 winning hooks. It's not loading for some reason, but there's 600. It's probably because it's 600 that it's not loading. A lot of stuff over here, a lot of useful information, and we understand the framework. These are like frameworks and then hook examples. Framework, hook example. So we get inspiration from here as well. Of course, we have a lot of in-house resources that help us with this entire thing. Moving forward, what do I want to speak about? Really, really important. Why is it important to maximize on angles, and why is it important to maximize on creative concepts? First of all, you need to understand that angles have market caps. What is a market cap? Let's just say this is the market cap. This is 500K a month, and the angle that you're scaling because of your specific situation doesn't mean that it's for everyone, but for you specifically, the marketing angle caps at 500K a month, and you just cannot scale past that no matter what you've done. Why is this the case? It's the case because it depends on what you're selling, the vertical, the market, the niche, the industry. It's relative to a lot of different things, and the angle, of course. So if there's one thing that I advise you to do is instead of just doing, the pet angle, try to do other angles as well, the gift lover angle, the whatever angle. Try to scale horizontally so that you can create multiple different buckets of cash flow. This alone is one of the resources and strategies that we use to actually scale to the $1 million a month mark, okay? Scale horizontally. Once again, different types of ad angles. Same thing needs to happen with maximizing creative concepts, which is what I just explained over here. But let me show you what happens when you maximize creative concepts. These are the angles that you're scaling, right? Same ones over here. You're scaling them over here. If you maximize different types of creative concepts, right? POVs, AI songs, reaction videos, reviews, what I just said before, you're able to unlock these extra gray areas, I like to call them, which is the potential revenue. This is potential revenue per angle due to insufficient creative concept testing. So if you don't do this, if you don't test these creative concepts, you're not able to unlock these extra, you're not able to essentially push the angle further, because maybe this angle could be pushed further if there was more creative strategy into the mix, more creative concept tested. And so see each angle as not just a limit, but as an extra gray box on the top that you could potentially push and get an extra maybe 20, 30, 15% extra revenue for each angle. So this is how you should see it. Hopefully you got the point. Once again, creative concepts allow you to get these extra gray lost revenue potentials from each angle. Because if you don't do the creative concepts, you're just going to be capped. If you do them, you can maybe unlock multiple other areas or creative, revenue streams, or scale the angle further. And this is once again scaling horizontally with creative concepts. You can do it. You can unlock these gray areas if you don't scale horizontally with creative concepts. Okay, last but not least, I want to talk about one very, very important thing, which is overall scaling the business in this way. You need to be able to scale with angles, with creative concepts, which we just explained, with offers, with different personas, targeting different personas, different products eventually, and different markets. This is by far the best way to get to $1 million plus per month, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, whatever the number is. Typically, the correlation between these types of businesses, 8 and 9 figures, is that they do it this way, okay? Last but not least over here, let's see one other thing. Oh yeah, this is just a diagram to show you how typically a 7-figure business operates compared to an 8 or 9-figure business operation. So this is what the 7-figure business does, and this is what the 8-figure business does. The most important thing, or the main leverage or difference, is that they know how to prioritize. 80%, 20% rule. 80% go on the winners, 20% on the testing things. And they also have a team to scale horizontally and do a lot more volume. Look at the types of volume that they're doing. This is a whole completely different business, completely different testing strategy. So in this example, these are the angles. Typically a 6 and 7-figure business, they find 1 or 2 angles that work, they find some winners, and then they get that winning angle and they test some creative concepts. This is typically how it works. CC stands for creative concept. The winning improved workflow of a multiple 8-figure business does it this way. All of these are angles that are tested, right? And all of these are the many more volume of ads. And then they get that creative, they scale with creative concepts, as I told you before, within the winning ads. So they put 80% of their energy on the winning ads, the ones with the green check mark, and they try to scale creatively with creative concepts. And then they test and spend 20% of their time and resources on testing different angles and different creative concepts combined. So there should be an 80%, 20% rule regardless, because the 20% keeps the 80% alive and scalable. The 80% is what allows you to scale and where most of your time and resource should go towards. You can't just spend 80% of your time testing things, right? Because then you're gonna have an unprofitable business. You have to put 80% of your time on what is proven to work, okay? Hopefully this video was valuable. I know that I did rant on several maybe, things that are a bit similar, but, keep in mind that it's really, really important. If there's one extra thing that I can add is mastering creative analysis. It's really, really important that you understand why ads work and you track every creative test. We like to use Ultra, which provides all of this very scientific filtering by ROAS type of thing. So this reporting is essentially on Ultra. If you sign up and you connect your ad account, it's going to give you with AI top performing ads filtered by ROAS, by creatives, images, videos, hooks, copies. Super, super helpful. One other tool that we use is actually this demo command center, which we have a tool called Creative Testing Tracker. Every single test that we put into the ad account, we also put here, and we track everything. We track the avatar that we're targeting, the angle that we're targeting, the hook, the messaging, the copy link. This is, of course, is half empty because it's just a demo, right? And then we record all of these numbers and the test overall. And then we also record the learnings and the next steps, and we also create graphical representations that look something like this, so that we can understand what's the win rate, what are what is the denominating factor of a winning ad, what are the trends, are POVs working better than AI songs, whatever. You get the point. By the way, I'm done with the video, but if you want access to this tool or this sheet, which is the exact same sheet that we use to scale our clients, there's an ROI calculator. There's a link down below. There's an ROI calculator, a competitor sheet, a daily report where we can track, plug and play all of your numbers. Everything is color coded with formulas already done for you, as you can see over here. There's a creative testing tracker, creative concepts, ad copies, visuals, UGC tracker. There's a lot of stuff, guys. Email flows, everything. CRO tracker. There's literally, this entire sheet is for you and for our clients. So get it. There's a link down below. And last but not least, if you are a brand that does plus or minus $100,000 a month minimum, then book in a call. There's nothing to lose. We would go over your brand, audit it, and if there's synergy and we have spots within our agency and we want to work together because you want to get to that next level, then we can discuss, of course, the opportunity of doing that if, once again, we have capacity within our agency. See you on the call, and hopefully see you in the next video. Bye.